What's up, guys? Day 3 on our consecration to St. Joseph. Today, I actually cracked open the Catechism and made some connections with the Catechism and our reading for today. So, Catechism 1146 says, "Composed of body and soul, man expresses and perceives spiritual realities through physical signs and symbols." Now, that just means since we're physical beings, we see physical things to model spiritual realities and spiritual truths. So the Mass is full of these physical reminders of spiritual realities. An example is when we have the chalice and before the consecration, they pour wine and water into the chalice. And I believe that is to remind us of Christ's nature, of both wine being his human nature and the water being a clear substance being his divine nature. So that's just an example of that reminder. I think in this sense, during our consecration, Christ had a relationship with his earthly Father to help us understand our relationship with our heavenly Father. So if we look at that relationship with his father, St. Joseph fed, sheltered, clothed, educated, protected, and though it wasn't needed with Christ, he would have corrected if he needed to. So just like any other father, those actions that he took with Christ, and those actions reflect the spiritual reality and that spiritual relationship that we have with our heavenly Father and St. Joseph. They desire to spiritually feed us. They desire to spiritually protect us, spiritually correct us, and spiritually educate us. But in order to do that, we need to entrust ourselves to St. Joseph. And then to conclude, I like how the author concludes here with some readings, and at the end, like why. So why do we want to entrust ourselves to St. Joseph so he can educate us and feed us and spiritually do these necessities for us? Well, if we read at the end of chapter 2 in Luke. So Luke chapter 2 verse 52. Jesus grew in wisdom and stature and favor with God and man. Now, which of us doesn't want to grow in wisdom and stature? Who doesn't want to be favorable among men and among God, right? I think we all desire that. And Christ was able to get there because St. Joseph guided him through that. Just like any other father that we have, that father leads us and educates us in such a special way. We have that special relationship with our Father. So, again, just growing that relationship with St. Joseph so we can grow in wisdom and stature. Like we said yesterday, making our heart very similar to the heart of St. Joseph. So continue to plug along. That's what I got from it. What did you get, John?
Well, on day 3, it brought us into the section 2 of the book, which we had a reading on our spiritual father.
Right.
And on page 101, it was talking about baptism.
Right.
So, through baptism, you became a child of God and a member of God's family. The Son of God became your brother for the very specific reason he wants you to share in his filial relationship with the Heavenly Father. And, I don't want to take time to read this entire section here, but it really got me thinking, like I had mentioned yesterday 2 days ago, that I made my consecration to the Blessed Mother.
Right.
And there was the question, can we make our spiritual consecration to St. Joseph, our spiritual father? And we can. And the section on page 100 on about our spiritual father really goes into detail on who St. Joseph is and how St. Joseph is our spiritual father. There's a lot of families, a lot of people today that don't have a biological father or aren't in good family relationships. And even what we're going through today of this time of uncertainty, especially a time where we need a good example of fatherhood in our lives. And who can be the best example is Jesus' father. His father on earth, who was St. Joseph.
Absolutely.
So I'm very excited as we go through this process of getting to know St. Joseph And for me personally, getting to know him as my spiritual father.
Right, absolutely. So, hope you're enjoying the book. Feel free to leave a comment, and we will just continue to work.
And we'll see you tomorrow.